Over the years, McLean County, Illinois farmer Dennis Wentworth has seen firsthand the way technology has impacted agriculture. And now, working alongside his son and other agronomic partners, he sees the value of using digital tools to not only improve efficiency, but for better stewardship of the land. We sat down with Dennis to talk about what he's learned about agriculture during his progressive and dynamic career. You and I were young boys at about the same time. Silly me, I wanted to be in broadcasting, but did you want to be a farmer always?
Back in those days, in the late 60s and early 70s, farming was still, it was serious business and serious work, and I didn't see a big future there, and so went to the University of Illinois to get an ag engineering and engineering degree, and worked on that for 2-3 years.
I understand there was kind of an aha moment. Share with us.
Well, we had, I'd gone to school over there full time for 2 years, and then my grandfather had come, had suggested about this possibility of farming. And at the time, I remember very clearly, we were in a differential equation calculus class, and first test we had, and he came back in before he passed the test down. He said, if you got less than 70 on this test, I'd give serious consideration to your continuation in this class. So I got my test back, and it was not 70, it wasn't 60, it was long. So that it made me start thinking that maybe this farming thing sounded pretty good. I look back on it. Would I have enjoyed engineering? Absolutely. Have enjoyed farming.
I know this is such a progressive area for farmers. Do you find all around you there's this excitement about products such as Climate Field View?
I think in the people that I deal with, I find that excitement, but I think you don't have to go very far outside of that circle to find a concern about farmers my age. And this technology is just a thing that I don't want to mess with. And so we're going to stay where we're at. And I would have to say I was there 10 years ago, and am I going to adopt, or am I going to just keep doing things the way they've been doing? And with my son becoming more involved and being around, that helped me move into adopting some of these technologies that we have today.
You mentioned your son. He's a farming partner with you.
Yes, he is.
Has he also prodded you a little bit, Dennis, in terms of embracing this technology?
Well, I don't know that you would call it prodding. I think we've been a great sounding board with each other and trying to keep each other in line with what our focus is. Saving money, being better stewards and more efficient with our products. And so I think we feed off of each other, and it's some great discussions about what it is. Is this really what we're trying to do, or are we just going off, this looks like a nice bells and whistles that we would like to have?
How did you first hear about Climate Field View?
Well, we had first heard about it through being at trade shows or whatever, and then local district salespeople with Asgrow and DeKalb. We use 100% Asgrow DeKalb products. They were talking to me about it, wanting us to get signed up, and we did the Climate Basic for a while. Started off with that, and then really looking with other team members, our technology person with Evergreen FS and our local fertilizer seed salesman with FS, trying to find a system where we could be more efficient and more seamless with collecting data, whether it was soil tests, whether it was yield maps, whether it was planting varieties, that would allow us to be more efficient with keeping us all together with this data. And we tried some different systems, and they kind of worked, but it wasn't really until late last summer, actually, the local FS technology guy was here, and he pulled me aside afterwards and said, hey, I think we got the package now. And that's when we got signed up with FieldView, and we were 100% confident that it was going to work in the machinery that we had at the time.
Where are you when you're using Climate Field View? Are you in the cab? Are you in your pickup truck? Are you ever in your recliner just kind of looking there and saying, hey, wait a minute, let's look at this?
Well, 90% of it is when you're in the tractor or in the combine. But then it allows us and allows my son to do, at our convenience, look at these maps. And I think one thing that we appreciate with Evergreen FS is they have over 100,000 other acres that are in FieldView program. And so they're able to pull that data and not look at all of Illinois or all of central Illinois, but just in their 5-county area, and look at that data and say, these are our soil types, these are our fertilizer rates, these are our hybrids that we're using, our soybean seed varieties. Look at all that data and do a better job of analyzing, and I think I'll get some very beneficial information back from that.
You also were sharing with me that as a younger man, you were involved in the Soybean Association. You might just talk about what
Sure.
that might have done for you.
Well, it expands your horizons, and you understand that what you're doing here, your little operation here in central Illinois, is just part of a huge picture of agriculture and feeding people around the world. And so we've carried that forward and have Brazilian farmers in, Argentinian farmers in, and share the story. And now I understand that we're really all in the same boat. Doesn't matter if you're Brazilian, Argentinian, Russian farmer, whatever. You're trying to provide a living for your family, a good living for your family, and in the meantime, try to take care of your soil and the plant husbandry, soil husbandry that goes along with that.
You welcomed folks in from those other nations, those South
Yes.
American nations, to
Yes.
see your farm.
Yes.
Have you been to see theirs? How did all this start? How did the relationship begin, and has it grown?
I think really it began just by having our website and some people looking for agritourism spots and found us, and then contacted people that we know. And so that evolved, a relationship evolved, and so we try to put on a nice show for them in August and appreciate them coming. It's always fascinating to talk to people from around the world and hear what their stories are. And I have a picture of my dad as a young man and my uncle standing in front of a buckboard wagon. I pass that picture around to, doesn't matter, Brazilian, Argentinian farmers, pass that picture around and you see their heads nodding. They've got the exact same picture of their fathers and grandfathers back when farming was tough. It was about survival of your family and your friends and family. That was, you were talking about really their survival as a family.
Have you learned from this interaction when folks come to your farm?
Well, I think I've learned that there's a passion about agriculture. It doesn't matter what country you're at. If you're involved in agriculture, it takes a certain passion. I think I've learned that there's a lot of people in agriculture that are interested in learning from other people. It's a lifelong journey, learning. And I think from them I've learned that number one, society is demanding things from agriculture. It doesn't matter what country you're in. I think I've learned from them that monetary policies of their governments affect their profitability. It's easy to live in your own little shell here and think things aren't happening around the world, but they are. They're happening to other people.
From a small town in rural America, Dennis Wentworth has cultivated a truly global perspective. With Climate Field View, he continues to explore a whole new world, one of innovation and data-driven insights. And speaking of exploring, join us here next month as we complete our journey on the final episode of Freeways to Farms.